yourself in, but they are ruthless, hungry and in power again.
What the fuck is up, gamers? You're listening to Henry Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die. Not a threat.
Just a fact.
Just a fact.
It's gonna be a kind of subdued one this week, because anyone else just, like, supremely exhausted by the world this week?
No!
I personally am feeling invigorated by the news.
The news only makes you more powerful. That's why you've been on, like, several episodes in a row.
Exactly.
You're the only one strong enough to do it at this point. I was gonna think of a nickname. I was trying to think of just a good nickname to go with the fact that Justin Trudeau just did, like, well, he didn't just do, but, like, it was just revealed that he did, like, some pretty severe brownface.
It was pretty severe.
It is among the more severe brownface I've ever seen in my life. The best I could come up with was Justin of Arabia. It didn't really. That's the best I could do.
How about
what about Justin Trudeau? Don't wear brown face, you fucking idiot.
Justin Trudeau don't wear brown face is pretty good. So yeah, no, I accept. That one's good.
Justin truly wore brown face.
Justin Trudeau, yikes, man, that looks a lot like brown face.
Sure does.
Justin True annoyed grunt.
What?
That one's for all you Simpsons fans out there.
That's just for the little Simpsons heads out there.
Okay.
All the Simpsons heads with huge brains.
Justin Trudeau, what are you doing? He's hammering. I know how to make references.
That's Calvin and Hobbes.
So.
Wasn't it? Was that? Or wait, maybe that was.
It did happen on The Simpsons, but it was mustard packets. I want to stress that it was mustard packets.
I see.
What was was Calvin just like hitting a table with a hammer or something? That sounds like a thing.
He was nailing nails into the table, and the mom was like, Calvin, what are you doing? And he's like, seems pretty self-evident. I don't
Hey, what a good.
That's scamp.
Oh, I don't remember when this happened. Did we talk about the vibrant new reboot of The Far Side by new alt-right Gary Larson?
He hasn't posted anything yet, has he?
No, it hasn't. I'm just assuming that that's what's going to happen. It just seems like it probably would.
He seems like a guy who just generally seems pretty cool.
Oh, probably, but I mean, it just seems like that's what would happen in 2019.
That is the kind of stuff that would happen.
Dilbert guy, like,
it's 2019. 30 Seconds to Mars is a cult. Like, this might as well happen.
Yeah.
The Dilbert guy's a fascist.
He loves it.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do nicknames yet or at all today.
I did one.
I did 3.
It wasn't good.
Oh, those were yours. I thought you were giving Matt ideas for his. Okay. I'm Corn Pop. My question: has anybody been Bernie Sander Clegane?
You know,
I think that was my display name in PGOT Discord for a while.
Okay. All right. I was listening to the Worm of Words Lightbringer, and I was like, this kind of sounds like another name.
The who? The what? Where? When? What?
Hey, remember how at the end of the episode we always talk about our Patreon and we talk about the upcoming Storm of Swords Lightbringer that was recorded 4 months ago?
I never asked you to do that. I never would have. If I had known you were doing that, I would have told you to stop.
Yeah, no. I recognize myself that we should have stopped, and then other people brought it up. And then essentially, it finally reached my brain and, like, fired the synapses at a point where I was in front of my computer and had a whole bunch of time on my hands. And so I fucking did it. I put it together.
When did we record that?
It was recorded on May 16th.
March? Oh, May. Oh, that's more recent than I thought. Look at us.
May. Yeah, so just fully 4 months ago.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It brings me back to my time of listening to PGOT and having a lot of emotions about media that I've never consumed in any form at all. I'm like, they really screw the pooch on this adaptation of a book that I didn't read, this TV show I don't watch.
And so you listen to the 2.5 hours of audio about 1/3 of a book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good book.
I haven't finished it, but I am enjoying it a lot.
It's fun to listen to your friends.
I like to hear the jokes and then hear the other people on the podcast laugh at the jokes, and then I'm like,
did we make jokes? That's
probably
weird.
Pretty funny if I knew any of the things they're talking about. That would
It's a pretty grim book. I'm surprised we were making jokes.
No, yeah.
It's kind of just like hanging out with your friends and not really knowing what to say, but in this case, you literally can't say anything because it occurred in the past.
Are you winning, son?
Yeah, yeah. It's the "Are you winning, son" of podcasting.
Yeah, there is a point, I think, Sam, you say, like, Robert hears the bells and goes sicko mode. And I was like, I know that one. That's a reference.
I don't even know sicko mode. I just know that Brooks and Eddie talk about it on Peagot.
That's all you gotta know. Is that
I
it's
just wonder
by...
how many layers we could
know.
filter through before we just become completely incomprehensible.
Before our
Peagot-
podcast is... No, I shouldn't say that. Never mind.
Peagot, it's the layer number is 1. Because I was re-listening to Brooks and Eddie something recently, and I was just like, this is just a string of inside jokes. There's nothing in between that makes any sense to people who don't speak this language already.
That's fine.
It's good. No, I like it a lot.
I think the thing with Brooks and Eddie is that they're very talented and entertaining.
Oh,
If only they listen to
Well,
this
I would-
podcast and they can hear me giving them a compliment.
Oh, God.
it's fine. They're
It's
not
fine.
founding members or anything. It's fine.
You want to talk a little bit of news?
Wait, speaking of founding members, did you know that so there are 4 members of NSYNC, right?
Yes.
JC Chazé, Justin Timberlake, and 2 other dudes.
Yes.
Who do you
True.
think were the first 2 boys picked to make a boy band for NSYNC?
Joey Fatone, Chris Kirkpatrick.
Yes.
Easy.
They had-
It's just the other two.
It's the other 2. Yeah, like
I using context clues, I was able to figure out that it's the ones that you wouldn't expect.
yes, but it's still within the context of me asking you that question, it's predictable. But isn't that wild? Like they're
Wait,
like,
hold on.
These 2 boys are like, let's make a band
Hold on.
around these boys.
There's also Lance Bass. There was 5 of them.
Yes. Well, was Lance
Wait.
Bass a founding member?
It's just
No.
it was said 4, and he wasn't mentioned yet, and he almost went to space.
Were there 5? Man, okay.
I feel like
was
it's
11
important to
when
mention-
NSYNC was big, so
There
like,
was one for each letter of the name, and they had a talking dog for the asterisk.
Yeah, but Lance Bass did almost go to space. This is a thing that this was a whole thing,
Uh-huh.
and I feel like it's very important to mention this.
yeah.
Why did he do that?
I don't know. I just wanted to go to space.
Why did
Me
He's like,
too.
well, I have a bunch of money. Can I go to space? And they're like, yeah, if you go through the training and stuff.
And then he said, oh, ugh.
Yeah, I don't know what happened after that.
I mean, that's me too. I definitely, as a kid, I was like, I'm going to be an astronaut. And then it was like, oh, you have to do things for that. And I was like, oh, never mind.
I had the exact same thing. I was like, Mom, what do I have to do to be an astronaut? We have to get really good grades and work really hard. And I was like, never mind.
You also have to be in
You have to be
extremely good
physically
shape.
fit. I said, oh, okay, goodbye then.
Yeah.
Bye.
And also
It's
like
like-
part of the military. So
Yeah.
Space Force.
I'm just
It was
like I want
cool.
to instill like global leftism, but it turns out to do that you have to like create a movement that is like outside of electoral politics in addition to incrementally working with electoral politics to make sure that the world doesn't go into the complete toilet. And then I'm like, "Oh, maybe this isn't for me and I'm just going to be a podcaster instead."
Well,
Well.
Jeez.
No, I probably will end up doing a lot of volunteering for the NDP this election.
That's good.
Because I happen to live in a riding that they could possibly flip. There's not that many of them. Because
a riding?
Yes. So,
What the fuck are you talking about?
there's going to be a whole special on the Canadian election on this here podcast that I'm organizing with a bunch of Canadian left podcasters.
You still got to explain the word riding to me.
Uh-huh. And it will explain that in some
I have to
detail.
say something, and this is maybe problematic of me to admit. Val, I've never known if you were Canadian or not.
Well, to be fair to you,
Val lives very close to Canada.
I am going to the Pokemon Canada safari, and B,
Okay.
arrived to the Peagot meetup in the car with all the Canadians.
I think that's probably why I assumed that you were Canadian.
Yes, but I am not Canadian. I'm American. And
Okay,
the
I'm
Canadians
sorry.
just picked me up at the bus stop.
You want to hear something wild, Val?
Yes.
For a while, for some reason, wires got crossed in my head and I thought you were from New Zealand.
That's awesome.
Don't know how this happened.
Wait, let me. I'm gonna do some of the podcast in a New Zealand accent.
Go ahead.
That way, you'll hear how disingenuous my accent is, and you'll realize there's no way that I could be New Zealand.
Let me tell you something, okay? I have been, for anyone who doesn't know much about my life, just accept this and don't question it. I've been reading A Secret Life of the American Teenager fanfiction to Lauren. And it's,
New episode up today on the Jurgen at Patreon.
no, not that fanfic. But there is one on the
different
Patreon.
fanfic to Lauren.
Yeah.
I know you said not to question it, but man, what the fuck?
Well, okay, sure. Well, okay, so
No, it's
this is a
fine. You're an
fanfic
adult.
that's like someone wrote like this is what I want season 6 to be like, because they only got 5 seasons.
Right.
Sam, you don't have to
and we
explain
haven't
yourself.
finished the show yet, so I can't read that on the podcast because it would be spoilers. Anyway, I've been
You don't have to
reading.
explain
I've been
yourself.
reading.
You're both adults.
Yes.
What goes
I've
on
been
in your
reading-
bedroom, it's none of our business.
Right.
We
I've been reading
cannot
it to
judge
Lauren.
you.
We're
I've
not
been reading it to
judging you.
Lauren. Thank you. I've been reading it to Lauren.
In bed.
And so there's like a cast list of all the actors that this person envisioned would play the characters, and one of the characters is Dr. Dre, played by Adrian Brody. And yeah, and well, it's not Dr. Dre. His name is just Dr. Dre, but he's not Dr. Dre. But his name is Dr. Dre.
Okay.
But there's another doctor named Dr. Worthley, and every time, or not every time, but twice in the story, he appears and speaks, and it mentions that he speaks in, quote, an outstanding Australian accent.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Beautiful.
And I was like, I don't know what that means. And then I looked at the cast list. I don't remember who it was, but it said that the guy who played him is Canadian. So just for no reason, they introduced this plot point where a Canadian actor plays an Australian man in a Los Angeles hospital, and he speaks in an Australian accent. So I've been doing the Australian accent, and it sounds really fucking terrible. But I'm not going to do it now.
Thank you. Thank you for
Can't-
not putting us through this.
Can't imagine how my New Zealand accent would lead you to tell this anecdote, but
Anyways, do you guys want me to
Well,
tell
I
you
was
what
just-
do you
yours
want me to
was
tell you what a
good.
riding is?
Sure.
So, Canada elects members of parliament, and the parties that form government are based on the number of members of parliament that they have, and those members of parliament each represent a riding, which is a geographic location, usually like a city or a part of a city.
Okay.
So
okay.
the riding that I'm in is Oshawa, and that allows that is a riding in both the provincial and federal legislatures.
Isn't it a starter as well?
Oshawott? Yes,
Yeah.
is a starter. I still haven't fucking caught it in Pokemon Go yet because this game's bullshit.
No,
Imagine
Sounds
if
like
it was
you're bad
good.
at it.
No!
You're bad at Pokemon Go.
How dare you, Sam? How dare you?
You're Pokemon going to hell.
Hey, how could you do that on this podcast?
You're
This is a
Pokemon going
this
to
is actually-
retire.
This is actually a Pokemon Go podcast. Didn't you all know? It's been the
I've
been
never
the thing the
played
whole
it.
time.
Your Pokemon Going to Hell is my Christian advice blog.
Get those teens in.
But yeah, there was a debate of 3 of the party leaders last week, and it was pretty much a goddamn mess. One thing that I don't even really want to talk about it anymore because it was last week, but I just wanted to touch on it briefly. That basically the most interesting person there is someone whose party holds like 1 or 2 seats in the legislature. The leader of the Conservative Party is an emotionless robot who spoke directly into the camera the whole time.
Good.
And
you
Jagmeet
wanna
Singh
connect
can't
with people.
debate and like can't denote his policy on the fly, but his party seems to be pretty cool overall. But like he didn't really make a case for himself on the national stage with this. And then of course the rest of the debates are happening like within 2 weeks of the election, which is a terrible time to have them. It's just way too close.
Well,
And I just like that the Canadian election, which happens in 1 month, has had fewer debates than the American election, which happens in a full year.
yeah, I mean, you should just do what we do and have your primaries over the course of 3.5 years.
Yeah, we just
and-
don't have
and have a great
primaries.
time the whole way.
We don't have primaries, which helps.
Oh,
Party leaders are selected by party members.
Okay.
hey, I bet that a lot of Democrats would also like it if we didn't have primaries. Am I right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, one of my shout outs for later, but I will just say it right now. I was on CNN looking up articles because I like articles that are, this is all the information we know about, and CNN has like that.
Yes.
And there was a link on the front page that the actual headline was AOC endorses progressive primary challenger to House Democrat lawmaker, which is like, makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
That is what she did when she was, that's how she became what she is. The link, the shortened version of the headline was, Ocasio-Cortez backs the rival of a fellow House Democrat.
Whoa.
Come on, what?
We got breaking news, by the way. Justin Trudeau says he is deeply sorry he appeared in brownface in 2001. So that's resolved.
He did that from his campaign jet. Thanks.
That's fine.
Thanks, Justin.
That's confusing because deeply sorry is when you swim to the bottom of the pool and then you scream out your apology.
Deeply sorry is what happens when you swim to the bottom of the pool and then you play a fun game of the board game Sorry, and everyone has a great time.
Yeah.
The thing that the places where you famously have a great time, at 1, the bottom of a pool, and 2, the middle of a game
Playing
of Sorry. The 2 famous things that make you have a good time.
I haven't played Sorry in a minute, but I think that...
Well, sorry.
Huh?
Sorry.
Okay. I don't know what just happened. I feel like you could do worse than that board game.
Yeah, you could be playing Monopoly, or one of the millennial Monopolies that they keep releasing. They've put 4 different ones out at this point.
I hate it.
It's so fucking bad, dude.
Monopoly for women.
Yeah, Monopoly or whatever they called it. Did we talk about socialist monopoly on this podcast? I say we. I'm not really on this podcast anymore. Did you?
No, but I would also like to not.
That's good.
Yeah. I'd rather not.
That's fine.
Oh, but we can. But in a second, I wanted to say also in the CNN article thing, I clicked through it to read what it was about, and it says that the person that she is supporting, who is the primary challenger, is the primary challenger of Dan Lipinski of Illinois, a lawmaker who is considered to be one of the most conservative House Democrats.
Oh, golly, why would you want to get rid of him?
Absolutely
He's
makes
bridging,
sense.
he's bridging the gap.
He's a Democrat. Why would she do that?
Yeah, come on. And he's in the House with her.
CNN also published...
creepy.
CNN also published a story about Ash Ketchum winning his first championship in the Pokemon anime.
Mm-hmm. Well...
Spoilers.
It's the cutting edge.
Can we... I just got a call. Just give me one second.
All right, let's do a 2-person segment here.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back.
I'm gonna open this Beeb.
I just responded to the phone call with a text, so it's fine.
That's rude.
Well, it's rude to call me while I'm podcasting, especially when I didn't tell you that I'm podcasting.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
You should definitely know when someone's podcasting. You have one of those giant on-air signs that just appears over your head like a Sims plumb bob, and it's just hovering there, rotating in place.
I mean, for some people, I think that would just always be there. Am I right? We'd be podcasting here in this group, but
sometimes gamers be podcasting.
You could also just send a mass text out to everyone in your phone, just says podcasting.
I'm gonna get a bat signal spotlight that says podcasting.
I need to get an audio recording of now this is pod racing, and then add just the word casting in Microsoft Sam voice, and then attach it to my soundboard, and then start using my soundboard again.
It's a lot of things to do.
It's a lot of steps.
I don't know how that would... Well, you need to communicate it to everyone, so you would have to just blast it like an air raid siren.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. No, Sam, you need to listen to the episode where I had the soundboard. People can very much hear it.
Oh my god.
People can extremely hear it.
People who aren't on the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
It was very loud.
If you listen to the podcast in your headphones on the bus, everyone on the bus and in the street can hear you. The soundboard, I mean. Whatever, let's move forward with the podcast. Sean Spicer still hasn't died, so that's a fun fact. He's still on Dancing with the Stars, so that actually became real, which is great.
That was
Has this been talked about? Because
it hasn't. Go ahead.
No, not Sean Spicer.
Okay.
That because I don't know when this came out. I just heard about this, that fucking former Department of Homeland Security Secretary or whatever, Kirsten Nielsen, is going to be a guest speaker at the Atlantic Festival or whatever.
Okay, yeah, no one has talked about that yet, but I found it very funny because someone had posted it on Twitter with there was the thing where you compare 2 articles from the same source. And so the thing announcing that Kristen Nielsen would be like a guest speaker at this Atlantic conference or whatever the fuck was paired with an article that Kirsten Nielsen would find it really hard to find a job after leaving the Trump administration because she's the face of child separation, and then of course they are the ones who hired her.
Well,
they felt bad.
Yeah.
Journalism is a fucking toilet, dudes.
It's pretty bad.
It's so bad. Like, Canada has it really rough because every single newspaper is owned by, like, the same conservative company. Just every single one.
Yeah, by the same...
Basically everything except for the
man.
CBC.
I mean, the good thing about that is that nobody reads newspapers now.
Yeah, they control all the local news as well.
Well...
Nobody listens to sounds or reads
Oh,
words.
shit. Oh, why are we doing this?
Oh, shit. Yeah, no one listens to sounds. Why
All right,
are we
bye,
even
everyone.
making this? Bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Memento Pokemore.
Memento Pokemori.
But yeah,
What if we just end
an
the
absolute
episode
mess.
like that?
Can we have all of that be a pre-show and end it?
Release that as the episode, but then post the rest as a bonus episode.
Yeah, no, that sounds fine. I do like that we do have actual topics on here that we're just not getting to.
No, we're
Well,
not.
I didn't think I was going to be on the podcast until, like, right as I was leaving work, so I don't know anything.
Hey, why
I
Sam
I do
Doc
we
4 times?
Oh yeah, it's me, you, me, also me, and then Matt for this episode.
Yeah.
We could talk about the GM strike because I haven't been following that much, but I do like to think about how one of the classic like centrist lib arguments against like Medicare for all is like people love their employer provided healthcare.
Yeah.
And like
And unions won't have anything to bargain with if they don't have that or something.
right,
What's the
exactly.
argument?
And like in the middle of all this shit, like while this is one of the most like hotly debated topics in the country right now, like employers are just showing like that's they're just like showing that that's a bad argument because they're like, no, you can't count on us to provide healthcare, but
Right.
also do believe that you can, but we're not going to let you count on us for your healthcare.
No.
Because they're just like, oh yeah, if you go on strike, then we're just gonna fucking take away your ability to go to the doctor.
It's
So-
like, what, like 74,000 people all lost their healthcare all at once with like a single pen stroke, basically?
I don't know. I know that there are 46,000 people who are striking, who are walking out currently. And GM, just cut their health benefits. So they're only being covered by Cobra, and the union has a fund for this exact situation.
They're basically just trying to bankrupt the union, which is like, you know,
Right.
what they do every time. That's
Right.
that's the main strike-breaking tactic
Yeah.
because they have the power to do that.
So this story is just chock full of capitalism bad. So first of all, like everything that Sam said about the healthcare thing.
Yeah.
But the reason that they're on strike at all is because back in ye old recession 10 years ago, remember how the Great Recession was bad? And
Yes.
we were like,
Yes.
oh no, America's auto manufacturers. Shit.
I do remember that.
Yeah, we all said that simultaneously. So basically, back then, the union, I don't know what UAW stands for. I'm assuming it's union.
It's United Auto Workers.
United Auto Workers. Yes. So the union agreed to basically like belt tightening measures of like letting new hires earn less than half of the base salaries and allowing temporary workers to be hired with less pay and fewer benefits. Like a lot of people were taking a sacrifice for their company, like to keep GM afloat or something.
Yeah. Meanwhile, GM got something like $40 billion. I mean, like the auto industry in general. Like, this is a bunch of different companies got like some huge cash infusions from the government. And then they asked the workers to bear the brunt of everything. And then, of course, they just, you know, pocketed all their savings.
So they agreed to these two contracts in 2007 and 2009. And then GM got a federal bailout and filed bankruptcy in 2008. in 2009. So
Yeah.
now that the economy is back up and doing well, their contract expired 4 days ago, and they let it because basically the union is saying, like, okay, now it's time to go back to not this, like, austerity measure. Basically, like, you're making money again, like, we don't need to be sacrificing this anymore.
Yeah. Hey,
and-
what if
Mhm.
the union didn't have to have the healthcare as a potential bargaining chip, and all of the workers were just covered by some kind of large-scale federal health program, and they wouldn't have to worry about the company bankrupting
Who's gonna
the union?
pay for it?
That sounds impossible.
You personally, Sam.
Yeah.
It's all going
I'd
to be
love
paid
to.
by one person, and the person is Sam Canning.
Sam.
Wow,
Yeah.
nobody ever asked me if I would do that. I'm so glad I finally have this wonderful opportunity.
Yeah,
That's why
this
you kept
purpose.
running around yelling, "Who's gonna pay for it?" hoping that somebody would finally.
Yeah.
Would you
yeah.
like to?
Anyone figure out who's paying for it yet? Hey.
Oh, I'm
Still
I'm paying for it?
thinking about it, huh? Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
So the union, rightfully are saying, how about we get some of that profit back, perhaps?
Yeah.
Just saying. And basically, GM is saying, well, the economy might go into a recession soon. It's looking like that's going to happen. So we can't really promise, like, that kind of, like, prosperity kind of thinking.
Yeah.
So basically, like, it's like the workers' pay reflects the economy unless the economy is good.
yeah.
Right. Workers are expected to live as if everything is a disaster forever, while the people on the top are expected to live as if everything is like a golden age at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
There's like a similar, almost like another situation with GM in Oshawa specifically. They announced last year that they were going to be closing their plant in Oshawa, which is like employs like a huge chunk of the city because it's like this is an auto construction city. And they had received something like $2 billion from like the Canadian federal and Ontario provincial governments to keep jobs in Ontario, and then announced that they were closing the plant. So they just like, took the money and put it in their pockets.
Good.
And it's funny, the conservative who has been the member of parliament for the riding since 2004 didn't actually make a statement about it at all, made like no statements whatsoever until the member of provincial parliament had said something, because he's a spineless, useless man. And I've actually just been on the lookout. There's signs that have been like on people's yards for like a year now that just say Save Oshawa GM. Usually people who worked at the company who, want to be able to remain employed. But there's also a lot of signs out for the Conservative Party of Canada. And I want to see if I just get that golden goose, the person who has both fucking signs. I know I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen because people are fucking dumb and don't know how anything works. And think that permanent austerity is the only way that they're going to lift themselves out of poverty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you tighten your belt, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and
Just tighten
then
your
you
belt
die.
so hard that you just snap your spine in two. And then you're only half a body, and you don't have to eat as much.
oh my god, that's genius!
Split the baby. The famous story of
Oh
how
my god, we
you
just
can
have
be
to
more
kill the
effective
baby.
if the baby's smaller. Yeah.
Make the
I
baby
want to
smaller.
make clear. I just want to make clear. I am not like saying people who are paraplegic are half a person.
Oh my
I
god,
was.
no.
I know. It's just I had the thought that could have come out like that. I was actually just thinking of a humorous situation where you tighten your belt so hard that you literally split in half.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I just want to make that clear.
Like a piece of floss through a wheel of cheese.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you bring up the Oshawa GM situation because they actually GM has temporarily laid off like either 1,200 or 12,000 Oshawa workers because in that factory because they're not striking, but the people in America that are striking, the Teamsters, truckers will not cross that picket line to like transport the parts that they're supposed to be manufacturing or whatever And also they're not manufacturing them because they're on strike. I just realized that before I started my sentence. But so those people are not striking but being affected by
you love to see it.
Not being able to,
It does seem like the Teamsters union is like probably the best union.
They seem very strong,
They're very strong, and they're just like always on the right side of things.
Yeah, I mean it's
I mean, I'm sure someone's gonna prove me wrong with a counterexample, but like in all of the recent large-scale strikes, they have been like the backbone of it.
Yeah, and they're
I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of Simpsons episodes where they make fun of them.
Yeah, but that's because The Simpsons, John Swartzwelder, who wrote the union episode of The Simpsons, just did not like unions.
Mm-hmm.
He's a weird right-winger. There's a whole bunch of them on that show's writing staff.
Really? You would never know from the fucking Mr. Burns freaks out about SJWs and we like it scene.
Oh, this is like 90s Simpsons.
Oh, I know.
Still.
It goes back.
That was inside their hearts all along.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of liberals don't like unions.
Yeah, that's true. Because anti-union propaganda has been extremely effective.
Oh yeah, I was super anti-union as a teen. I didn't understand a fucking thing.
There was a point where I've probably talked about this on the podcast before, but like both the large-scale nickel miners in Sudbury were on strike at the same time, and it essentially like tanked the local economy. But like essentially, what was happening is that the people who owned the company were just making bank, and the workers weren't getting shit for it.
Right.
Then both the strikes were ended with barely any like gains, and then both the companies were sold to multinationals, and everything's good now.
Great.
Well, that's good. I'm glad everything's good now. Yeah, I mean that's the thing with unions is that everybody is like so short-sighted that basically their expectation is that like if you work at a shitty company, like
you just leave and go to a different one.
Well, I mean that, but also it's like if your working conditions are bad, like sucks to be you. Like you need to suck it up because it's your job as a worker to keep the company afloat so that everyone else has a great time and loves it.
Like that person that like thanked Elon Musk for laying them off or whatever it was. Like they were like, I understand this was the right choice for Tesla.
Or like, I mean, I'm thinking of the people who were like during the government shutdown when there were people who were like, well, the airline workers, it's their job. They need to go in and do their thing and keep things moving along. And it's like, they don't owe the world anything. Like they're trying to make a fucking living, and
no fucking person working a job owes their company anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean that's
they
why
give their
I
labor,
am
they get paid
mine.
in exchange. That's
it.
That is the exchange.
And it is
if anything, the companies owe the workers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's such a fucking like insidious
GM
mindset though. Like I've definitely had
$50 million a day on this strike. That's just a fun fact that I like.
What was that?
That's good. I like that.
Unions are very powerful. GM loses about $50 million a day.
Good.
Yeah.
I wish I could lose $50 million a day.
Yeah. That's they're up to 150 million now, I guess. Looking at
this as it develops, I guess.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Cool. Let's get some Chivos going.
This is like weirdly early for us to be covering a story just because of when it happened in the week. Gave us a little bit of lead time.
Yeah, apologies to any stories that happened on like a Sunday, because they basically
fuck
didn't
you.
happen
I'm not
to
covering
me.
it.
Yeah, if you dating a story from Sunday, you single to me.
Yeah. So Saudi Arabia made another Onion story reel.
Oh my god, yes. So the Onion story is John Bolton says an attack on 2 Saudi oil tankers is an attack on all Americans, and the real story is also that.
It's just the exact thing.
Basically.
That is the exact thing. It's exactly what happened.
There were, I believe, 0 human casualties.
Yeah.
It was all property damage.
Oh, I felt it.
Despite the fact that the Houthis in Yemen immediately owned up to it, they're just like, oh, but it was Iran.
Definitely it was Iran, though. Yeah, probably Iran.
Definitely was Iran.
Yeah.
And then Trump did like the first, what would be considered a good move of his entire presidency and fired John Bolton.
Because
that was when he finally became presidential.
I can't believe Donald Trump is finally president.
Did you know? I didn't know this is a thing. I fucking I googled the headline of that Onion article just to see if I could find the specific story that is real. but in the like Google News like top story section, it has an Onion article. John Bolton asked to leave condo board meeting after repeatedly advocating bombing Isaacsons. And then under that, in like bold text on Google, it says satire.
Oh, that's new.
That is very helpful.
I mean, why does it even come up in the news like the news section? Like, why bother putting it in that section at all?
Because it's better than anything else that's in the results.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
This is this
but
also
I'm waiting. Go ahead.
This also reminds me of the Onion story that's John Bolton. I forget like the phrasing of it, but it's John Bolton like running down the hallway with a bullet wound, like yelling that Iran shot him.
Bleeding John Bolton stumbles into Capitol building claiming that Iran shot him.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, this is just like Saudi Arabia wants us to go to war with Iran, and like a person told that to Donald Trump and he was like, great idea, thank you.
Even he seems like hesitant.
But I mean, like, when he's talking about it, he's like, well, you know, they're going to be responsible for it. You know, they're going to have to pay in some way for this. And it's like, we're not mercenaries. Like, why would we be involved?
This isn't our job in any way.
Yeah.
We love it. Not to just like read Onion headlines, but I just saw this one that's very good. It's Bolton. We will not be drawn into a lengthy ground war in Syria, although saying it out loud, that sounds incredible.
God,
Yeah. So the thing of I'm sorry,
just
Matt,
waiting.
You were gonna say something.
I was just gonna say I'm waiting for John Bolton to have his like resistance hero moment where like he just becomes like they're just gonna have him on SNL and he's just gonna like do some little jokey jokes about how much he wants to go to war, and they'll have like an Iranian host that week who just happens to be very uncomfortable with the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be
yeah.
fun.
That's I mean that's like the fucking it's I was gonna say this earlier when we were talking about spicing with the dancing and all that, but like it is so wild how like quitting your job at the Trump administration is like legitimately to so many people just like a wiping the slate clean moment where it's like, oh,
right?
but they quit and now they're woke because like, oh, they just couldn't do it anymore, or like, oh, they got fired by Trump and my enemy's enemy is my friend or whatever. Like,
I feel like they've taken the enemy of my enemy is my friend like so far past its logical conclusion.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a pragmatic rule of thumb. It's not supposed to be
anyone Trump angrily tweets about is now my hero.
Right.
I guess I love Hillary Clinton now.
I guess I love Hillary.
I guess
Clinton.
I'm with her.
This election, I'll be voting for Jennifer Lawrence.
I don't know. I can't read all this. So the Department of Homeland Security is. I don't need to give my opinion on this. Anyway, Trump has fired so many people and not appointed so many people. And this was like an issue when he first came to office, was he was like, there are 4 characters on this TV show. I don't know who to put in any of these things. Running the Department of Homeland Security right now is an acting secretary, an acting deputy secretary, an acting general counsel, an acting undersecretary for management, an acting CBP commissioner, an acting ICE director, an acting USCIS director, and an acting FEMA administration.
Yeah,
cool.
Sitting in the Oval Office as an acting president because he was on TV. Thank you.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Except that he can't act for shit. So.
Thank you.
And nobody's even been nominated.
No, please continue, please.
Nobody's even been nominated for any of those positions except for the acting for the.
Well, he's been like he's been pretty bad at filling any appointments, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's been like. Where do these acting people come from? Are they just like secretaries who just get suddenly promoted when they're?
They're just people who like walked into the building one day.
Are
they just Don Jr.'s friends?
It's straight up. It's almost as if he doesn't have experience or connections or knowledge of politics and shouldn't be the fucking president of the United States because he doesn't know anything or anyone, and everyone around him is just.
Neither does Bernie Sanders.
It just really reminds me of just like how. It's like the Dollop episode that went into the Iraq War, and how like everyone involved in that was just like no one who'd ever done anything before.
Right, they were just
got a
like
bunch of
friends
like, finance goons.
Yeah, Just
And
like
put them in charge
college
of a war.
business major douche bros who were like, I'm gonna be the chancellor of Iraq today.
And yeah, that's like how the whole government is run now, and it's good,
Yep.
and I like to see it.
The new national security advisor, which was what Bolton was, right?
Something like that. Remember when that was Steve Bannon? That was cool.
Oh my god. Anyway, the guy that was named the new national security advisor is Robert O'Brien, the US hostage negotiator. So this was just a dude who worked with Trump on hostage negotiations, and he was like, "Great, you know stuff about."
That is
Foreign
the
relations.
exact kind of shit I would expect Trump to do. Where he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, this guy is amazing. Have you seen the stuff that he does? Oh my god, it's unbelievable."
Next thing you know, there's gonna be like there's gonna be like the person in charge of like the FDA, and he's gonna just get a magician because he saw the magician summon some flowers once.
I was literally thinking that I was like, what would he get? Like, oh, I saw this amazing human statue on the street. This incredible busker. You wouldn't believe how still he stands.
Have you guys heard of this Carrot Top? Carrot Top, he's amazing.
Rick Perry is the head of the EPA.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty bad one.
Like, it's what? It's just a random. Anyway, yeah. So, this guy's qualifications seem to be that he's a hostage negotiator, and he says a lot of nice things about Trump. A lot.
Seems like you guys got a bad president.
Seems like he doesn't.
Yeah, well, at least our president's never done brownface.
You cannot guarantee that.
No, yeah.
Absolutely
No,
no
well,
way
I
can
mean,
you
I
guarantee that.
he's doing orange face every day. Am I right? Hey,
Oh.
hey.
Burn.
Hey, don't look at me. I'm just saying it.
That was me doing air horn, but with human mouth.
Instead of my extremely loud soundboard air horn.
Please don't.
Right.
Don't worry, Sam, it's not set up.
Hey. I remember when Sarah was like, I think it was Sarah, like brought in like an air horn bot, and I was just like, ban.
Bye.
So the next thing that has happened, that is happening in the news, is that Corey Lewandowski is being he's testifying. So
Okay, who is he again?
okay,
He
so
was
first of
Trump's
all-
campaign manager.
Yeah, he was
'Kay.
Trump's campaign. But like
One
honestly,
of like four.
all of a sudden, like, people started talking about like this hearing at all, and I was full like Keke Palmer voice, like, I'm sorry to this man. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I have no idea who this man is. Like, there's so many people that have cycled through like working for Trump that it's impossible to keep track of all of them, and also like trials take so long that like they're just now like it's.
So what is the trial for?
So this is impeachment hearings. So these are hearings to see if they should consider thinking about looking into reading how they can impeach Trump.
So they're going to impeach Trump.
That's my understanding, is that it's a hearing, like something has to happen because of this hearing to lead it to then become impeachment or something. I feel like people would be talking about it more if it was like, they're doing it, they're impeaching him.
I mean,
But-
the thing is, people talked about the Russia investigation as if that was going to lead to impeachment, and then it didn't.
Yeah. Well, this is fallout from that. This is Corey Lewandowski is testifying about the stuff that was in the Mueller report.
Got it.
So I read a couple of articles about this, and the one that I felt that I was like actually interested in was one that was talking about how the Democrats are useless and have used their have let their ego get in the way of like effective politics, basically. Which, raise your hand if you're surprised. Oh, it's an audio medium and I don't see any hands raised. Accurate.
Ow, God, shit. Fuck. My ceiling fan hit my hand because I was raising it so high.
Were you jumping up and down?
No, my arm got really long.
Oh yeah. That's
Like
fair.
in Space Jam.
Yes, like in Space Jam.
I get Space Jam. So the way that the hearing worked, I believe, was that a bunch of Democrats, Congress people, each got 5 minutes to question Lewandowski, and they all used their 5 minutes to be like I watched Tim. I'm not going to pretend I know his name. I don't remember it, but he was like
Tim Kaine.
What?
Tim Kaine?
No.
Okay.
His name started with a Y. Also, his first name might not have been Tim. Anyway, he was like, He's like, you started out this hearing questioning the Democrats' love of their country. I'm a veteran. I served my country. I'm not going to question your love for America. I hope you won't question mine. And then, like, said his questions, and it's just like, shut the fuck up.
I would say that's a good use of your limited time.
Yeah, great. Of an extremely hostile witness. And then Barry Burke, who was the Democrats' counsel, an actual lawyer, had a half hour, but it was like after everybody stopped live streaming it and watching it, so it wasn't, it was like the most effective cross-examination of this dude, but nobody was watching. All the good stuff's gone already. Like, it was from the Democrats, like from the Congress people that were questioning him, it was very much like the whole like, Politico gave you 4 Pinocchios for your statement on blah, blah, blah. Like, whatever that was.
Oh, you just said that and my brain died.
They're trying to do it in good faith, despite the fact that the Republicans have never acted in good faith in their entire existence.
Right, exactly. Which, like, there's something to be said about, like...
How stupid are the Democrats? How stupid?
Like, I think the concept is, like, they go low, we go high. Like, they don't want to just be as childish. And
How about instead, they go low, we get high? Everyone except for Sam.
Thank you.
Sam, you don't have to do it.
Thank you.
Me neither, though.
Okay, you don't have to do it either.
Thank you.
But I'm going to.
I'm straight edge by coincidence.
I'm
Sometimes
straight
it'd be
edge
like
by
that.
purpose.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it'd be like that.
I just, anyway, we don't need to talk about my medical. It's fine. I'm fine. It sounded weird when I said it like that. I didn't mean it like that. I have met
Glad
the
you're
lower
okay.
my tolerance. There, now it sounds less.
I'm seeing something on our doc here that says Joanna Cherry tweet.
Yeah, so this is a Scottish person that tweeted something. And
Oh, okay, I do.
That's
remember.
awesome.
Matt put this in the topics, and I didn't know what it meant, so I was hoping he would explain. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna take a guess, and I'm gonna pretend to be Matt for a second. This tweet is a turf dog
That's
whistle.
offensive.
It's a turf dog whistle.
Joanna Cherry tweet.
Let's just cut this bit. I didn't know that it was a Scotland thing.
No, this is good. I think everyone will like to hear this.
Okay, this will be the post show. This will be the part we put up.
It doesn't need to be.
No, this whole thing has been the post show since like 22 minutes in.
Since we said goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at this person's Twitter. Nothing's jumping out at me. So I don't know.
It's in the if you go to the top, the reason that I am guessing it's a turf dog whistle situation is because it says your tweet is defamatory and lesbophobic, which I don't know. Like, please take it down or I shall put matters in the hands of my lawyers as I did successfully with Pink News.
Yeah.
Pink of some kind. I don't know,
Probably.
whatever.
Or it's just Pink's fan club.
Or it's Pink's fan
Yeah, it's
club.
just about Pink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't believe that we forgot to mention this. PewDiePie. He doesn't like anti-Semitism. Oh wait, never mind. Yes, he does.
He's all for it.
He doesn't not dislike not it. So
Yes.
It's all very stupid.
I have a question,
yes.
and I don't know if either of you will be able to answer this. Who is Germa, and why is everyone posting about Germa?
I don't know who he is.
I don't know there.
I assume he's
Awesome.
some kind of gamer.
Never heard of Germa.
I'm seeing a ton of Germa memes, and I have no idea who it is. If
Is
you
it a
know who
typo?
Germa is, hkipgtd.tumblr.com/ask.
Yeah, please let us know. I don't know.
If you know who
this man
Germa is, patreon.com/Jurgenit.
Is it a typo for germs?
No,
Is it
I
like one
think
of
he's
those
like a
things-
streamer or something.
Is it one of those things where somebody types a typo in the chat and then everybody has to...
No, but that is very funny.
Might be.
But let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
We got Milo Yiannopoulos back in the news.
Great.
Yeah, I was gonna attend a furry con, and then the furries were like, no.
Yeah, now he's like calling the Proud Boys to like come to the furry convention and probably murder people.
Yeah, I did see that is the update, basically. The Proud Boys will be in attendance. Will
Yeah.
the Proud Boys put on fursuits? Will they all be German Shepherds?
They won't put on fursuits. They will be wearing their diapers.
Yeah, that sounds about standard Proud Boy. Like, genuinely, people who are going to Midwest FurFest should, be careful, be wary of these shitheads being around, because their whole thing is instigating fights and then making it look like they're the victims.
Yep.
So
Yes, victim complex.
They're proud boys.
they're some proud boys. So if you're gonna deck them, make sure to clear out quickly afterwards. You are
And be wearing your fursuit so they
and
can't
be
identify
wearing your
you.
fursuit so you cannot be identified.
Don't
But just
wear
probably
your
never.
fursuit. What
What?
could be more identifiable than your custom bespoke fursuit that's to your color specifications and the species of animal you always are?
Well,
You have to wear someone else's fur head.
yeah.
a
Everybody,
mask on your
everybody
fursuit.
swap fursuits. Do they not have? I would assume that furry conventions would have like just sort of a room where you can grab a fursuit, like take a fursuit, leave a fursuit,
Why would that be the case?
so that you could
In
fight
what
the
other-
Proud Boys.
In what other party or event can you just take an entire outfit
I don't know. I've never been to a party.
that the event? Okay. Well,
Well, in SpongeBob SquarePants Operation Krabby Patty, if you go to the fancy restaurant, they have like a jacket you can wear.
that's different.
How?
SpongeBob's.
Yeah, so I guess, like, unless you have a really generic fursuit, don't wear your fursuit. That is a very good point.
Yeah.
Like, if you have something really generic, like, you just, like, got an average, like, head that was just, like, not specific in any single way.
A human fursuit.
Oh God.
Everyone's
It's like
just
when-
wearing Jeb suits. In fact, yeah, no, if you're gonna punch a Proud Boy, be wearing Jeb.
Yes, but Jeb in the hoodie.
Please, Yif.
Yeah.
Like,
Well-
please clap.
No, I
Yeah.
got it.
I did get it.
I'm just busy right now.
I didn't think it was gonna be a good joke, but like I had to think it, so you had to hear it.
You're valid.
Thank you.
Let's talk about D.A. Rollins.
Yeah. So basically, D.A. Rollins, from, if you'll recall from our episode about the Boston Straight Pride Parade,
Which was the previous episode of this show.
was it?
Yeah, there wasn't one last week, so
Whoops. Okay, yeah. So last episode on The Secret Life of the American Teenager, there was a judge and he sucked. And he
Now
was
I'm
like-
listening.
Anyway, D.A. Rollins. Let me just like click on the little link of it. But basically, the courts backed her up that Supreme Judicial Court Justice handed Suffolk District Attorney Rachel Rollins a major victory, ruling that Boston Municipal Court Judge Richard Sinat III had no authority to force Rollins to push ahead with the prosecution of a straight pride protester.
that's
So,
very
yeah.
good. So are they free now?
I
Or
don't
are we still
know,
waiting?
because I think there are some people that just had their charges dropped, and there were others that were going to have their charges dropped with in exchange for community service.
Right.
Um,
Which, like,
but
they were
basi-
there. They were at the protest performing community service in the first place, so that should count as, like, time served.
yeah. I think basically like we're good. It's fine now.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Yeah. I haven't seen any other follow-up news on it. So
Okay.
I'm assuming it's good. Yeah. Also, this is just always happening, but we have to mention it. A report came out recently that said that the Department of Defense has spent £140,000 at Donald Trump's Turnberry Resort, which is in Scotland. So you heard about how like military planes and stuff would refuel
Yeah.
at Trump's house, basically. It's also
Trump is just actively using the office of the president to enrich himself.
Yep.
It's
And
really
here's
cool
yet another
that he
one.
can just do that and nobody fucking cares.
And
Yeah,
he just
just
tweets
nothing
that
happens.
he's losing money as the president, and people are like, "Great."
I believe you. You've
believe
never
you.
said
Like-
you've never misstated the facts before.
Nope.
You tell it like it is.
Not to be like, oh man, I wish for Norms. Norms would be great right now. Man, I could go for a spot of Norms.
Mm-hmm.
But like, this feels like the kind of thing that should, in like a regular world, be like an immediate like, oh, this is corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Well, it's like in other countries, like world leaders got named in the Panama Papers and were like removed from government and replaced with like a different government in like a snap election call. And in North America, world leaders who were named in the Panama Papers just kind of shrugged and went about their day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like because there's so many he just does so much crime all the time. Like,
It's crime time.
It's crime time all the time. It's like people forget that you're not allowed to do any of it. Like if he
no, none of this is allowed. They made Jimmy Carter sell his peanut farm.
If he was a regular president who did like nothing weird except for one of the weird things that he does all the time every day as president, he would be impeached for it. But because it's like he's a wild card president.
He was specifically elected, though, because people loved what a criminal he is. So,
Right.
I mean, what can you do?
But it's very much, it's like the Three Stooges syndrome from the Simpsons, to reference the Simpsons a third time on the podcast, where it's just because it's everything at once, it doesn't fall apart.
Right.
Just like
Right.
all of them are going through the door at the same time, and then they all get stuck in the door.
Like 18 years ago, Justin Trudeau wore brownface, and that picture coming out now is like a big deal to his presidency. Is he a president?
He's a prime minister.
Prime minister.
I mean, we say it's a big deal. I don't think it's actually going to affect anything.
No, but still, it's something that he has to defend himself about.
Right. Well, as a comedian, it's his job to push boundaries.
Meanwhile, like, the reason Trump got elected was because people were like, I love his racist tweets.
I really liked his 2-page ad he took out in the New York Times
Oh my God.
calling for the execution of the Central Park Five, who turned out to be innocent.
After they were exonerated.
Yeah.
He didn't let it go. I don't know if the
It
ad
is
was
cool
before or
how
after.
he still feels so strongly about that he's still like, he still wants them to be executed.
He literally doesn't even feel that strongly about his own sons.
No. Or his
God.
second daughter.
Or his second daughter.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that we were talking about last time, where, like, he cannot be wrong. He isn't and cannot be wrong.
It's good.
Sounds about right.
His opinions are fine. It's good.
You want to do some Lightbringers?
Sure.
Does anyone got one just like on call?
Yeah.
I have a quick one, I
you
guess.
go, Sam.
Sure. It's a short one. I've written words. I re-listened to a favorite music album of mine, Street Horsing by Fuck Buttons. And
It's a good one.
Continues to be really, really good. So if you enjoy sort of electronic-y, drony stuff, great album.
All right.
The worst hearing loss I ever suffered post-concert was after a Fuck Buttons show. 'Cause
That makes sense.
I decided to not wear earplugs, and I was in the front row.
Oh no.
This was a mistake.
I'm sorry.
It was very good, though.
I would, I can't even imagine what the experience of seeing like a drone concert is like, but I would enjoy to see Fuck Buttons live.
It was cool to see all the instruments they have and all the electronics on their giant electronics table.
And their
then
little,
just,
like-
trying to piece it together.
And their like little toddler microphone for babies.
Yeah, the toddler microphone for babies that they scream into and then modulate like
the
8
Mr.
times.
Bucket of microphones.
Yeah, it's real good. I'm gonna be
Sam,
back
did
on
I-
my shit. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Oh, did I ever tell you about when I went to see Caro Bonito? Bonito? What?
That is that.
Caro Bonito.
Caro Bonito. After they left, one of their like pedals or amps or something was like making a sound, and there was a feedback loop, so it was just like, but it was getting louder and louder and louder, and it had like some kind of filter on it or something, and made it sound kind of like an electric guitar or something, and it was getting louder and louder and louder because it was a feedback loop, and everybody thought it was like
Another band
a
starting.
sign that they were gonna do an encore, and like we're like, woo, yeah, and like somebody came out and like turned it off, and like,
And then Lightning Bolt came out.
Yeah, no, just that reminds me of the good 4chan post where guy hears what sounds like an interesting noise band at a festival, so he starts walking around the festival trying to find them, and then it turns out to be a diesel generator.
Yeah, noise music is pretty bad.
Yeah, I do like it, but it's bad. I want to be back on my bullshit and recommend a podcast episode, because that's what I always do. There's a podcast called Grubstakers, and it's about billionaires. Every week they cover a different billionaire or family of billionaires, and they did
Like a fan cast.
Yeah, like they're big fans of them. That's why it's called Grubstakers.
mm-hmm.
And then they did an episode on the Irving family, who basically have like a feudal lord relationship with the entire province of New Brunswick. Like they own it.
Wow.
it's real bad, and the episode has a lot of details. And the episode is featuring famous leftist City Skylines YouTuber Do Not Eat. And he's really good, and he's really good on the episode. It's the first episode of this podcast I've actually ever listened to, but I'll definitely be checking it out now. I just wanted to hear them shit talk the Irvings, because usually I have to go to Dog Island for that. And it's good to have another source of shitting on one of Canada's worst billionaires. Did you know that the Irvings, Canadian billionaires, are the 6th largest private landholder in the United States?
Oh my God.
Because they own a significant portion of the state of Maine. They just own a bunch of forest.
One thing that's fucked up on the subject of knowing about billionaires, because I've never heard of them, and I just think it's really cool every time I learn about a new billionaire that I've never heard of. And I say, wow, that person has billions and billions of dollars, and I've never heard their name before. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really fun to think about the fact that these, like, outside of, like, they were talking on the podcast about how this is, like, different than the usual, like, billionaire influence peddler who will try to, like, expand their wares as much as possible, like, basically try to get multinational influence. Instead, they just hyper-focused and own basically the entire province of New Brunswick. Like, they own newspapers, they own gas stations, they own trucking companies, they own lumber, they own, like, they own so many things, and they own a bunch of things that, you know, necessarily have to buy things from other companies. So, like, they don't have to externalize, like, any of their costs.
Vertical integration, baby.
Yeah, no,
Nice.
they're like the picture of vertical integration. It's really, it's terrifying to listen to. It sucks so bad.
Good.
Is that the family that you were talking about, like, last episode?
The Irvings, probably.
You were talking about, like, fundraising or campaigning or something in Canada, and you're like, nobody goes to this place because it's all...
I don't think I was talking about the Irvings in that case. I don't remember the context at all. Everything leaves my brain as I finish podcasting.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's long gone.
Everything leaves my brain when I start podcasting.
Before you even podcast. I was going to say it's like a pensieve, but I don't remember if that's how pensieves work, so...
That's the opposite of what a pensieve does.
It's fine. Nobody cares about Harry Potter.
Good thing I couched what I said just now.
Do you have a Lightsbringer?
Yeah, I do. It's called Pokemon Go Safari Zone Montreal.
Oh, yeah!
I'm very excited for this weekend when HKIP become real. And also Stephanie will be there.
Yeah.
Going to Montreal. I'm excited to do a Pokemon Go Safari event. I've obviously never done one before because they're all far away. But also we get to meet Alex Leaf Crunch, who I love a lot.
We're going to have a good time. We're going to hang out in Montreal. We're going to play the bad game of Pokemon Go for several hours.
It's a good game, so I don't know why you would say
And then you'll
that.
Pokemon go to the polls.
Then we'll Pokemon go.
To cap it all off, we're going to vote.
I mean, I am going to vote just like a month from now.
Yeah, you should. So.
It's going to be a bad election, but I am still going to try to make it less bad.
That's what you got to do.
If you need a token American to be on the election special and be confused and not know anything, I'm available.
The problem is I definitely already have too many people on it.
No,
like, I might have to be the only HKIP host present because of how many people I've invited.
well,
what's our ratio now? How American and how Canadian is this podcast? Has anyone done the math?
I mean, you'd have to like assign a numerical value of how on the podcast someone is to make that work.
Yeah.
No.
I think the ratio is probably pretty close to the same to whatever it was because like the last 4 new hosts are
2 Americans and 2 non-Americans.
Yeah. And actually only one of the non-Americans is Canadian.
Yeah.
I almost said Catholic, but I don't. That's not the same. So.
What's the difference? Am I right?
No, you're not.
I'm saying what we're all thinking.
Canadians are Catholics?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Look, as a comedian, it's my job to push boundaries.
Anyway.
Anyway.
That's my Lightbringer.
So this has been Henry Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die. Did I say that? Henry Kissinger's
Yeah,
Pokemon
I just heard you say it.
Going to Die.
You said it.
Okay. My brain, like, immediately shut off as I finished the sentence. And I didn't remember if I said the name right.
Yes.
It's fine. just like to thank everyone who supports the podcast through our Patreon. You can get all fresh new content. A Storm of Swords Lightbringer. It's 2.5 hours of people talking about the good George R.R. Martin book of A Storm of Swords.
Woo!
And
Only
Sam
the
is one of those
Riverlands
people.
part.
And it's just the Riverland stuff, but it's
Stay
good.
tuned for Jon, Sam, Bran, and Daenerys in 8 years.
Yeah, we'll release it at the same time as The Winds of Winter. And that you can get that for just $1 monthly donation. At $5, you get a special role in our Discord and a shout out on the podcast. And at $10, you can listen to the show live. I'd like to just thank our $5 and up donors, which include A Sexual Fish Tank, Alex Shoup, Alex Hoot, Ashinu, Bryant, Bryce, Burgermeister, Kadeho, Chaz Goblin, David Besser, Destryhawk, Dick Butt is the Real Jesus, Dijonais, Ellen, Florian Siegel, Kangaroo, Maximilian Rower, Michael Weems, Mogu, Nick Clarkson, Non-Binary with Left Beef, Paul Blart Fleshcart, Pregnant Seinfeld, PR the Disaster, Roan the Other V Berg, Six Arm Sweater, Stephanie Ruff, Summer Geist, The Tallest Jew, and Tuffster McGee.
Paul Blart Fleshcart gets me every time.
It's so fucking good. It's like it's our computer scare.
And of course, Paul Blart
scare.
Fleshcart.
Yeah, and of course, Paul Blart Fleshcart. You can find us on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit. HKIPGTD is how we are listed on all of those services. You can also find us on the Noise Space Network, that old chestnut, that old network of mine.
Hey, Matt.
I do.
Hey, Matt.
Thanks, me.
Hey, Matt.
Hey.
There's new podcasts that aren't on the front page. Did you know that?
I sure did.
Okay, just checking.
Don't worry about it. I'll get to it.
Okay.
The website is good. Thank you for having it, Matt.
It's good.
And we'd also like to thank the Taxpayers for the use of their song Evil Men off of Cold Hearted Town, which is the intro of this show.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the one. And then that's it for Henry Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die. Memento Pokemori, everyone.
Memento Pokemori.
Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair. Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? My daddy was a miner, and I'm a miner's son. He'll be with you, fellow workers.
Povich. What?
Memento Maury Povich.
Memento Maury Povich.
Remember, every Maury Povich.
Remember Maury Povich. I just feel like people don't talk about him much these days.